Welcome to my humble abode. I am Yorkie the Tailspinner, and this Tales Over Coffee, the channel where we start the day with a cup of coffee and a narrative tale in the hope of welcoming a blessed day. We return now to the life and suffering of Sir Brante, Sir Yorkie Brante, as he progresses through adolescence. I'll be trying to remember to read this in first person since I am taking the part of Yorkie Brante. Storm of expectations. Finally, the day comes when the teachers stop coming to the house. Before I can breathe a sigh of relief and put away the books, Father asked me to come to his study. You've grown, my son, he says. It's time for you to continue your education away from home. I've chosen a deserving school for you. It's a Tabor school for the children of noblemen and well-off commoners. Naturally, it is not a boarding school for nobles, but you will study there during the day and come home in the evening. I share the news with my best friend Thomas. The Tabor school, eh? He says. Yeah, I gotta ask my parents to send me there too as soon as they get the coin together. Father says his workshop has toiled day and night for years to save up for my education. Yeah. Different lots within the same lot. That's why lots are nonsense, one of many reasons. The school is based in an ancient estate of Arcanian design. The classrooms are tall and spacious, with massive benches. The sounds of scraping quills and lectures on history and imperial law and theology echo under the vaulted ceilings. The rules are strict, the lessons tiring. Restless, Thomas keeps getting distracted, and several times he gets his hand slapped with a stick for it. Every teacher demands flawless mastery of their subject. Every day Father asks me about my studies. I have told him twice how Magra joined the Empire and how the nobles' court of honour is different from the commoners' civil court in the city prefecture. Father keeps pressuring me to work even harder. When it is time to go to bed, Mother will not let me go to sleep until I recite a newly learned prayer for her. And when it is time to go to school, I promise her every day that I will behave with great humility and steer clear of insolent behaviour of any kind. But I still live by the commoner's lot, and that lot is hard work and suffering. My first month in school draws to a close, and the teachers announce that there will be exams at the end of the month to determine the best and the worst students in each subject. Father insists that I devote all my spare time to studying law and history. I wish to follow in his footsteps. When I speak to Mother every day, I start considering theology. I still remember the revelations and divine visions that came to me in my earliest years. I have only one more day until the exam. I have locked myself away in my room. It's already getting late. My desk is covered with handwritten notes, surrounded by leather-bound books. Just looking at them makes me queasy, but I have to read through them all again, at least for one of my subjects. There is a nagging thought on my mind. Thomas ended up in big trouble the other day. He got in a fight with several boys who live next street. They heard about our wooden fortress and got in outrage by the fortifications built by commoners. They swore to dismantle it tonight. Thomas swore he would defend the fortress until the end. Perhaps I should abandon the books and rescue the friend in need. But then I hear my little brother Nathan knocking at the door. He stands there shyly, not saying a word. He often does that, standing still and staying speechless until either I speak first or he runs away. This time he actually says something. The door is locked. Are you okay, Yorkie? Is there anything I can do to help? My head is spinning. This is the last evening of the school exam. If I fail, my family will be very disappointed. I have to refresh my memory on law and theology. On law or theology, either one or the other. But Thomas and our fort are about to get stormed. Why today of all days? I grind my teeth in rage at the thought. Nathan is by the door, trying not to bother me. He wants to help me the only way he can, for reasons only known to him. Will I accept his help? The loyalty of a friend is important, but this is not the day for it. And Nathan will have to grow to understand sometimes I cannot spend time with him. Law and history is not my subject. I must know more about the twins. See if what is being preached meets what my knowledge is. I push Nathan out of the room. He cannot possibly help me prepare for the exam. With him out of the way, I delve into the books on theology. My mind is awash with the names of saints and zealots and concepts of the divine. My studies tire me out so much that I fall asleep among the books, until Mother wakes me gently and sends me off to bed. One morning, I barely have the time to wake up before I am walking to the menacing edifice of the school. The entire day is a constant stream of school subjects demanding knowledge, questions demanding answers. I demonstrate satisfactory knowledge of law and history, though I am somewhat confused by the technicalities and chronological order. It feels like the day will never end, but the end does come at last, the theology exam. As luck would have it, it is the final test of the day. The teacher, a priest, starts asking me questions. Surprising even myself, I provide coherent answers for all of them. I quote eminent theologians on why and how the lot of the clergy is to provide spiritual guidance on other estates. When the questions require examples, I quote prayers and lives of saints I have read with Mother. I earned the highest grade on the exam. And I'm at +4 with my mother. Back home, I am overjoyed to tell Mother how I aced the theology exam. He pats me on the head gently and says I should tell Father how I did in history and law. Spirituality +1 up to 2, a searcher. $11.34 Nobel titles. My education continues. As I study imperial law, I come to realise that there is a certain hierarchy even within the noble estate. It seems my father's status is not quite equal to that of the more eminent human and Acnean gentry. I return home with this new information at my disposal. Father asks me about school after dinner, as he always does. And what is the difference between nobles of the mantle and those of the sword, Yorkie? I already have an answer ready. The latter status is hereditary, meaning that it is passed down from father to son. After the Acneans, nobles of the sword are the most eminent humans of the empire. They own land and estates. They fill offices of the highest ranks, and the names of their bloodlines are preserved within the Great Book. The ability of the sword can only be granted by the overseer of the province, or the emperor himself. And how are such eminent people addressed? Asks Father. With the honorific L before their last name, I respond. The Augustine L. Born, for example. Father pats me on the shoulder, clearly pleased. And what about the Acneans and their status? What have you learnt about them? The Acneans stand above all human gentry. They are born to rule over the humans regardless of their titles. No L is required when addressing them. They need no honorifics. The names of their ancient dynasties are known to all. Father nods solemnly. Yes, we can never be their equals. Do whatever an Acnean tells you, and never defy them, ever. What about grandfather and me? Where do we stand as nobles? That is easy. Father and grandfather are nobles of the mantle. His title cannot be inherited, but it can be earned by any commoner as a reward for great service to the Empire in the Legion, or as a civil servant. Father suddenly grows quiet and looks me in the eye intently. Yes, and someday you will earn a noble title too, son, he says, all in due time. Sons of nobility. The Teba school teaches children of all stripes. Nobles of the mantle and low-born parents can send their sons here. And every passing day, the children of noblemen invent new ways to snub and bully the commoners. Most of the time, the bully leading them is Daederic, the son of the secretary for the Imperial Chancery, and a self-important slob. Sons of noblemen never pick on me, however. They know that my father has been ennobled by the mantle. However, Daederic and his retinue soon choose Thomas as their favourite victim. Time and again, I ask my friend not to pay them any mind, but again and again Thomas grows angry and snaps at their self-satisfied mockery. Now this is a time to stand with my friend. It's early morning, the students are busy flocking to the classroom for the next lesson. I wave Thomas over when I see him. He waves back at me, and then a bucket full of slop splashes on him. Needless to say, it is the work of Daedric and his entourage. I hear his familiar creaky laughter. The tailor's son stinks. How dare he sit next to decent folk? Thomas clenches his fist. You're dead, Daedric, he yells. He throws himself at Daedric's haughty entourage like a soldier ready to wage war. He attacks them first. This is just what they expected, and they are free to retaliate. He barely makes one movement before 4 pairs of hands grab him. Daedric sneers and kicks my friend in the belly. Thomas gasps for air and starts coughing. I stand between them as Daedric readies for another kick. The nobleman's son cocks an eyebrow. Why do you mingle with commoners, he asks. Your father is noble of the mantle. You ought to be friends with your own kind, your equals, not the dirt beneath your feet. This is my own kind. You are dirt. Behind him, 4 boys hold Thomas down as he struggles furiously. The other students are watching me, frozen in fear. Daedric haughtily extends a hand to you. Really expects me to shake it. I'm not doing that, I'm just curious. The Elysians know. Challenge him to a fight. The biggest dog will come out on top. I do not shake his hand. Instead, I challenge Daedric to display at least some dignity by fighting me one-on-one. That is if he considers himself a noble and son, of course. Daedric's face grows serious. There is no way for him to refuse this challenge in public. Daedric makes a sign and Thomas is released and pushed to the floor. He gets back to his feet, cursing and itching to rush back at them again. I hold my friend back. The teacher of Imperial Law comes into the room just in time. Everybody immediately returns to their seats. A day full of lessons begins. I keep daydreaming of Daedric's face and how I am going to put an end to that nasty smile of his. Catch that bastard together and clean his clock. He hurt me, not you. The deal has been made. Tell my friend, this is a matter of my honour now. Thomas huffs angrily but agrees. Daedric is already waiting for me in a narrow back street by the school, his retinue by his side. I walk forward and give him an opportunity to end this dispute once and for all. This is the nobleman's way. If I win this battle, Daedric and the other children of nobles will never pick on the commoners' sons again. If he wins, I will never stand in their way and protect other students. I will fight him one-on-one. Daedric walks forward uncertainly and roll up both my sleeves. I raise my fist in a fight stance. Daedric tries to copy odd movements. I hit him first. Daedric does manage to land several glancing blows, but he is fighting a losing battle. He has never been in a real street fight. Thomas nods in approval. I have learned a lot from him. It does not take long for Daedric to stop fighting back. One more blow and he squeals and raises his hands. I have won. I turn to the other nobleman's son with a victorious look on my face. No more teasing. And if anyone else says so much as one bad word about Thomas, they'll pay. +2 simply. Daedric. Former retinue disperses silently. Ability +1 up to honourable. And 11, 31. 13 years. The Silver Tree. My theology teachers tell me more about Anizot. It is more than just a provincial capital, it is also a sacred place, blessed by the gods. It is where the twin gods' first disciples spilled their blood, and from that blood grew the sacred silver tree. Its enormous foliage hangs over the city. I see its branches in the sky every day, but I have never approached the trunk of the tree myself. Today, I will be taking my first trip to the Silver Tree. My class is visiting a service in the great temple by the tree's very roots. Thanks to my theology teacher, I and the other students will witness this landmark of the twins' advent up close. Everyone is excited. Soon I and the other boys enter the slums surrounding the church district of Anizot. The roots are pulsating under my feet. They spread underground all throughout the area. Pathetic cramped hovels and filthy streets surround the trunk of the tree. They are home to paupers, day labourers and preachers. People of the district bow humbly to me and point me toward the temple. They seem at peace, despite the abject poverty in which they live. All who live directly beneath a tree are filled with its divine grace, my teacher says. People come here to make peace with the world and their fate in it. Our class is unusually quiet. Everyone is listening to the rustling of the leaves and the underground beating of the roots. The sky above us is obscured by the tree's canopy. I find the temple of the twin gods right next to the tremendous trunk of the tree. It almost seems a part of it. There is a crowd there, pilgrims dressed in travelling clothes, paupers and beggars, common people of the city, and the occasional well-dressed noble. There are arguments among some people who are gathered in separate small groups. Many people are wandering around, staring upward at the tree's branches. The tree impresses me with its might and the calm emanating from it. I am filled with a desire to sit down and think of the world, to learn something about myself, to touch the silver white bark and hearken to the whispering leaves. I am distracted enough to fall back from the rest of the classmates. I notice a small path. It should take me right next to the trunk. A tall red-haired woman walks out of the crowd of pilgrims. She is wearing a worn white robe. She is no longer young, but her face is youthful and covered with freckles. Her hands clutch a book. I've never seen this lady pilgrim before, yet she looks at me almost as if she has recognised a lifelong friend. She beckons to me and says her name, Mathilde, a preacher from Astynia. What she says next shakes me to my very core. It is commendable to see a young man so keen to learn the teachings of the twins, she says. Yet you will never follow the light of the truth within the walls of the temple. Inside, you will find only the lies of the lot, the erring words of the prophetess Hirtius, sanctified by the passage of centuries. Yet anyone who sets out to read the account of the twins' own lives knows that they never so much as mentioned the lot. This is what I'm saying. The lots are a fabrication. The red-haired preacher's words frighten me. No, they don't. Stop putting that in my mind. That's not the way I've been being. They clash with everything I've heard from Mother. Everything I have been told at school. The lots are a lie. Yes, I've said so. I freeze in fear. Fear that this revealed truth is a truth I've seen all my life. That I am right. And the fear of what that means. Should I argue with Mathilde or ask for more information? Or should I treat her as a madwoman and catch up with my classmates? I suddenly feel a small warm hand grasp my own. I see a girl right next to me. She is just a little older than me, wearing a black dress, threadbare, yet almost spotless. Her hair is covered by a handkerchief, with only a single gold lock showing. Her brown eyes are burning with rage. Her hand is pulling me away from the red-haired preacher. I stared in confusion at the strange young girl, my cheeks flushed by the sudden touch. There is just a bit of colour in her cheeks too, but then she starts speaking to me quickly. Don't listen to her, she says. She is dangerous. Come to the temple with me. Only there will you see the truth. No, my child, you're wrong. You should come with us. I stand there, surrounded by the crowd of praying pilgrims and the sounds of shuffling feet, torn between two people I have never seen before, and each of them expects me to follow her. But all the while, I hear the whisperings in the wind of the tree's branches. The branches reach out for me, almost as if the tree wishes to speak to me itself. Can I hear its voice? I don't have that. I will stay with the red-haired pilgrim. I shrug, smile sleepishly at the girl and walk towards the red-haired preacher. It's Mathilde of Astynia. She speaks too strangely to be ignored. I feel she will be leaving soon anyway, and the temple... Surely the temple is not going anywhere. The lady preacher hands her book to you. There are words on the cover, the lives of the twins. The book is so heavy, I almost drop it. The crowd around me barely allows for a proper reading. The best I can do is flip through the pages and hope to glimpse a message or two from it. Mathilde's hushed voice comments on each new page. The book was written by the disciples of the twins. When the twin gods descended and brought faith into the world, they walked the lands with them. It is filled with many stories of wonder, battles, as well as records of the twins' own sermons and dialogues. They discuss many things that now guide the living, the fate that awaits us on the shining pillar, the eternal life after true death, the profane evil of magic. Yet Mathilde points out something that I cannot help but notice myself. There is not one mention of the lot in this book. How can this be, I ask her. It is what it is, she responds. The twins never spoke of them. They never left any teaching behind, nothing but their deeds and their own lives, this world. F. Brown, and how can we know about the lots now? They exist thanks to Isatius, she says. Isatius, favoured by the gods, the elder's favourite disciple, walked the lands by his side. And through all his hardships, until his fatal end in Eterna, they came to be, she explains, when people came to Isatius and asked him how they should live. Yet Isatius was but a man, and his teachings of the lots were not a divine revelation, but a speculation on his own devising. It explains so much. This feels much tougher than learning prayers. So if the teaching of the lots came not from the gods, but rather from their students, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for the people? A new faith, the red-haired preacher says with a smile. I think about her words for a long time as the silver tree whispers above my head. The very tree grown from the blood of the people who walked the land were the younger and the elder. I keep on thinking about it even as I make my way home and into bed. My conclusions bring no comfort to me. If that strange lady preacher was right, then I am supposed to be free to interpret the twins' words myself, which means that I, and only I, should be responsible for my life and the fate in the hereafter. Who can tell for sure? But this matches so much of how they've embraced me even when I've kicked against the lots. I cannot fall asleep that night. Though they were lying to me all this time, in the morning I still mutter up a prayer and the words of my lot. To work, endure and suffer, but is it all worth it if the lots don't really exist? Yes, because the words must be interpreted differently. There will be suffering when you build a new faith in an old world. But it is to embrace that faith and help in growth, not to surrender to authority. What is it the will of the twins after all? Did they actually speak with their will? To Isatius, no. And those who defy that will are defying the true order of the world. These questions will remain in my mind for a long time. -1 with Gene. Rich out to +3. And +1 up to 3. The shadow of the past. Another school day has ended. I am making my way home, still mulling over the things I learned from my teachers. The founding of the empire, the eternal and unshakable rule of a single dynasty, the 3 estates, each with its own rights. What an odd sort of order this world has, and yet so mysterious, at least. Sounds that way when the teachers talk about it. Mother is waiting for me on the porch. She smiles gently when she sees me, and yet her expression still shows great concern. Father left on a trip to several distant migrant towns a few days ago. Since then, Mother has been trying to tell me something, but she seems uncertain. Son, could you put your things away and come pray with me, she says. I join Mother in prayer to the twins. She prays with fervent sincerity, her head bowed low, reciting the words of obedience to them and their greater design in a barely audible whisper. I repeat after her just as she has taught me, ever since I was a little boy. When the prayer ends, Mother sighs and turns to me. Yoki, my son, she says, you are 13 now. You'll be grown soon, and it's time you learned about certain things that's important to our family, difficult things. It's about your father and me, about our marriage. I gaze curiously into Mother's eyes. I'm sure you've wondered about this before. Your father is a nobleman of the mantle, so how could he marry a commoner with another man's child? But you see, Yorkie, your father, when his first wife Amelia Elborn died, it was a painful blow to him. He lost the will to live, lost all hope. He felt like his own destiny was cut short that day as well. And then he met me. You know the troubles I had in the past. I went to the prefecture as a petitioner to ask them for help, protection, justice. When I was a young girl, I worked at a small shop that sold crockery and dishes. A nobleman took a liking to me. May his name be forever forgotten. The twins know I was humble and honoured his lot to rule, but he took me by force. This is yet more evidence of why the lots are a lie. Mother falls silent, summoning the courage to continue. Gloria is the nobleman's daughter, but he was outraged. How could I have the gall to burden him with a low-born progeny? He turned me out on the street with that little baby girl in my arms. Mother's voice is shaking now. I take her hand tenderly. I had no home, no honour, nowhere to go, no one to help. When I went to the prefecture, I didn't really think the judges there would help me find justice against my former master. But when Sir Robert heard my plea, his eyes met mine, and I believed that, at that very moment, the twins themselves granted him the gift of their love. Your father told me that there was nothing he could do to make that detestable nobleman marry me, but he would never abandon me and my baby Gloria, and if I agreed, he would take me into his own home. Tears are running down Mother's cheeks. And I knew it, my son. I knew how much his honour and reputation would suffer. But caring for me brought him back to life. It's like he experienced the sacrament. He rediscovered his noble purpose, his lot to rule, and protect and care for others. For his decision to marry me, he is still paying for it today. Your father had the courage to defy your grandfather and founder of his bloodline. If only you knew how much he had to endure, my son. If only you knew the despicable rumours we heard about the Brante all over Anisot. It was only thanks to the efforts of Sir Gregor that the Brante bloodline managed to hang on to what little remained of its reputation. And now the noble families have all but forgotten about that scandal, like the twins. Mother falls silent. She looks at me intently. Do you understand what could I understand what she's telling me? My son, I'm not telling you just to share the pain of my past. I have no reason to complain. Even Sir Gregor has accepted me through gritted teeth. But you need to understand the heavy burden our family must bear, including our scandalous marriage and Gloria's foul origin. And Gloria, she can never be a Brante. Even if the elder Brantes agreed, the news could stir up the old scandal in the minds of high society. And if that were to happen, Yorkie, they would see even your birth as illegitimate. Mother sighs heavily. What I told you just now is something you have to know, my son. You are about to enter adult life. By my lot, I must be humble. I cannot tell you how to treat your family. May I ask you a question? Now that you know this, do you still see Gloria as your sister? Of course I do, Mother. How could you even ask that? Of course I do. Her origins matter not. Her origins just make the lots a lie. Filled with determination, you assure Mother that Gloria and you is and always will be your sister. I want Gloria to be a Brante too. I want her to be part of my family. Who cares what the nobles of Anisot say? Mother beams with quiet joy when she hears this. Oh, Yorkie, if you only knew how happy that would make me to have our family united at last. However, the joy on her face quickly gives way to concern. But I already owe good Sir Robert a debt that I can never repay. He's given my daughter so much, a home, an education, his care and advice. The Brante bloodline could suffer so much from Gloria's existence. We should all just learn to accept her status as it is. Mother, the bloodline is one thing, but you said yourself, Father was dead inside before all this. You owe him nothing, and he owes you nothing. Just then I hear Gloria's careful knock at the door of Mother's chambers. Mother, Yorkie, I couldn't find you. I happily greet my sister. Yes, she is my sister. No other secrets can ever change that. Mother gives me and Gloria a kiss on the forehead and returns to her prayers. Let's see with Gloria. Me and my sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by the bedside now, thanking the twins with a quiet prayer for the Brante family they have given her. I hope they can hear her. +5 affection with Mother. I and my sister walk downstairs together. Mother is alone by a bedside. Oh. Year 1131, fall, the flash and the flame. I am 13 now, another theology lesson. Today's sermon is about the priests and why the clergy is the only one of the 3 estates with the right to interpret the lot, and guide the other 2 estates accordingly. Thomas sits next to me, huffing and puffing as he fervently writes down the teacher's every word. I've heard all this from Mother many times before, so I take this moment to daydream a little. Father promised to take me to the capital once my studies are complete. But the teacher suddenly casts a stern look around the lecture hall and raises his voice at one of my classmates. A boy by the name of Brian jumps out of his seat. The teacher asks him to repeat what he has just heard. Brian freezes and seems to think. He tries to muster a reply, but nothing comes out. The class becomes agitated. Someone is about to get punished. The teacher now looms over Brian. The boy's cheeks are flushed and his eyes are covered in tears. We all watch the teacher's iron-bound book as he raises it sharply, about to strike. Brian shrieks and raises a hand in front of him. A sudden flash, the teacher screams and buries his face in his arms. His hair is ablaze, his skin is covered in horrible burns. It's magic, real magic. Just like in the books about the Magra rebellion. The class freezes in shock. There's a dull thud as the iron-bound book falls to the floor. Brian's hysterical laughter rends the silence. He stands up from his bench, fire in his eyes and sparks in his fingertips. There are screams now. Students run for the door. The teacher tries to extinguish his burning hair. Brian snaps his fingers and the books of his satires on the desk turn into pillars of flame. He laughs and raises his arms, and the curtains catch fire. The screams grow louder as fire howls. Brian's face is tense and violent. His mouth is spewing flames, and his whole world is shaking with laughter. He steps toward the door. I and Thomas glance at each other. He's going to burn the whole school down, says Thomas. The effects of bullying, the effects of mistreatment due to the lots. My friend's determination makes me brave. I run behind Brian and knock him off his feet. We both tumble to the floor. Even through his clothes, his body sears my flesh. Brian screams, convulses, and grabs Thomas by the shoulders with his burning hands. Thomas howls but stays put. Then knocks Brian senseless with several fierce blows to the head. There are servants fussing around the room now. They put out the fire and take away the teacher, his body covered in horrible burns. I and Thomas remain next to Brian, who is lying on the floor silent. Soon 3 men in black cloaks enter the doors of the school, each bearing an edict sealed with silver, the Inquisition. I and Thomas are told to step away from the witch. They lock Brian's neck in a silver collar and take him away. One of the Inquisitors remains behind to tell the students what happened. That was magic, he explains, the ungodly power that twists the minds of men into savages and instruments of murder. Only the sacred shackles of silver can hold it at bay. Only the power of the twins can save us all from its evil grasp. The next day, I am forbidden from ever mentioning Brian's name again. He is no more. Imagine that power, not used for harm but used for good. Fire can be a wonderful thing. But magic comes out in a situation like this only through bullying, only through reaching desperation. It's a thought. +3 with Thomas. The nobleman's lot. A great day looms ahead. 100 years ago, Uther Tempest was anointed to rule over the Empire. Blessed by the twins themselves, the Emperor's reign continues into its 2nd century. Celebrations in honor of the Tempest dynasty are held throughout the city, and the school is closed for 2 weeks because of that. On one of those evenings, Father tells everyone that Grandfather is going to bring Stefan back home for the holiday. They say families should celebrate the day of anointing together. I could benefit from my elder brother's company with his noble education. Stefan might be able to teach me how noblemen are supposed to act. I'm not sure I care. Soon Stefan arrives. He now handles himself differently. When it comes to ordering servants around and ignoring Gloria, he is still Grandfather's double. But he is more grown up now and far less haughty towards me. It's a dark winter evening. A damp, cold wind sweeps through the city of the barren lands of Magra. I and Stefan are sitting in the library. He is telling me about all about Eterna, capital of the Empire. It's so full of many wonders. The Imperial Palace, the enormous Temple of the Twin, the Military Academy, Imperial College. I've read so much about these places, yet he has seen them firsthand. Nathan enters the library. He looks concerned. I can't find Gloria. I looked everywhere. Not in the attic, nor in the sitting room, nor in the kitchen. I heard she wanted to sneak off to the ruins of Milanida's palace. She could be lost in there. Stefan and I exchange looks. Milanidas, the rebellious Duke. The ruins of his palace are a dangerous place. Some children claim his tainted magic still lingers there, which means I absolutely have to make my way there and back again to prove I am not afraid of the long-dead witch. My brother tells me to wait. He leaves and soon returns with his sword in his sheath. Get ready, Orky. We're going to rescue Gloria. We must have gone through the ruins in search of inspiration for another one of her little rhymes. The two of us instruct Nathan to tell our parents we've gone for a walk in the square. Me and my elder brother head outside. I am confused by Stefan's actions. He refused to treat Gloria like a human being. So why is he still so determined to rescue her? Stefan notices my expression. Are you wondering why I care about Gloria all of a sudden? He asks. I can't act in any other way, can I? The law of honor compels me to protect my family. Gloria will never be a Brante, but father still took her into our house. I must respect his seniority and defend Gloria like she is one of our own. You're a Brante too, noble or not, which means it is your duty to aid me, he says. The ruins of Milanidas' palace span an entire district. The palace was abandoned over a century ago. Its remnants are overgrown with thick underbrush. The ruined palace is empty, but cold wind blowing over the crumbling brickwork. Even the worst scum of the land steer clear of this place. I make my way through the ruins until I spot scattered sheets of paper covered in writing, my sister's writing. I hear loud laughter coming from behind a dilapidated stone wall nearby. I pull myself up to peer over it. Gloria is lying on the ground face down, twitching and sobbing. A gaggle of drunken thugs surround her, cackling and swinging their arms about. I hear their shouts. Look at the lass sitting there rhyming words together. He thinks she's all noble, but don't you worry, you low-born tart. We're going to teach you your place. One of the louts spits at Gloria as she lies there. Get away from her this instant, you bastards, or I'll spill your guts, yells my brother. They respond with mocking laughter. Stefan draws his sword. The street thugs recoil in fear, but they soon notice that he is only one-armed man against many. They start reaching out for sticks and stones. Stay by my side, don't let them flank me. Stefan's hand shakes, but he looks ready for battle. He's outnumbered. For a moment, I hesitate. Perhaps it might be better to run for the nearest district and call the guards. But it's no time for that. The young thugs are already armed with makeshift weapons. They start approaching me and Stefan cautiously. But there's no time for calling the guards. I could charge the attackers, but I think that may be suicidal with so many. We will fight together. We will fight together. Stefan's firm voice fills me with confidence. No, it doesn't. I just know it's the wiser way to be. I follow my noble brother's orders. It takes a moment to grab a stick, and then I'm at Stefan's back, angrily swinging at the louts as they try to bring him down. One of the louts lunges at my brother with a stone, but I hit him with the stick and he falls down right at Stefan's feet. His sword flashes, the blade sinks deep into the young man's stomach. He wheezes, blood starts pouring from onto the ground. The thug frees. Stefan pulls a sword out, his face an inscrutable mask, and returns to his fighting stance. I am stunned to see Stefan take another man's life so easily and effortlessly, like picking his own teeth. The thugs look like they are about to flee. There is rage and confusion on their faces. They never expected the young nobleman to use that sword. Stefan just scoffs at them. Low-born scum, that's all you are, he says. This is the only language you understand. Good job, brother. Gloria, get up, we're going home. He turns to glance at my sister, giving the enraged thugs just enough time to rush us. I get separated from Stefan. My back is against the wall now. They hit me hard in the stomach, then in the face, then the side of the head. My mind slips away. When the darkness disperses, I find myself lying in my bed. Stefan is in the armchair next to me, reading a book. He is alive. With a left arm in a sling and a black eye, but still alive. My head is spinning and I feel nauseous. I try my best to sit up. Stefan looks up from the book. Don't try to get up. We lost a lot of blood. I suppose that was a few thugs too many for a single warrior, even with good backup. I've been pressed. We fought like an army. The noble's orders, the commoner obeys. All according to our lots. No, my friend. Well, I hesitate to call you friend, but you did protect our sister. According to a wise movement of battle. We defended the family's honour together. You know, brother, the nobleman's lot is also a great burden that few are able to bear. It takes courage, not to fight everything you see, but to do your duty. Each and every decision a nobleman makes becomes a part of his family legacy, flowing in the blood tide forever. I think about it often. A noble mustn't act weak. A noble mustn't suffer like people of the low-born lot. A noble must rule over them wisely. A noble must ensure that they have work to do. It's not merely our own lot you have to look after. You have to ensure that 1,000 others can live by their lot as well. And there are so many more matters to take care of. Honour, dignity, tradition. It's tough, but it's what it takes to be a nobleman. Do you understand what I'm talking about? There is approval in your brother's eyes, for the first time in a long while. It was a pleasure to fight side by side, brother. Again, too, he likes us, but... Ability up to 3, willpower down by 5 to 10. Trial of the assailant. Before long, the entire city hears how a gang of low-born thugs assaulted Stefan Brante. Grandfather ensures that the brash young men are found. Some of them are taken into custody as soon as lesser deaths release them. Grandfather seeks vengeance on those who hurt his favourite grandson. Prefect Elborn, a friend of our family, promises to personally oversee the trial and ensure that justice is served. Stefan and Grandfather decide to stay at his hut until the trial ends. Grandfather demands true death for every single assailant. I ask Father to explain something. How can a legal court sentence criminals to true death? How can worldly judgment overrule the twins' law? Your words are true, my son, he says. Their law is second to none, yet the twin gods also made the empire in all its ways. The court of law exists to execute the laws of heaven here in the world. Should the court of law sentence a person to death, the law high above will always enforce it, and so every execution brings true death. The commoners who assaulted Stefan, a born nobleman, have committed a grave offence. There is no doubt about that. And yet, according to the Emperor's decree, even commoners have the right to defend themselves when they are about to face true death. This means that all of us will have to appear at the trial and testify before the court. Evening comes. Gloria visits my room. She looks crestfallen and her fingers keep reaching for her long hair. I put away my school books and ask what is bothering her. Trial is tomorrow, she says. I thought I was going to appear there too as an eyewitness. After all, this whole mess started because of me, but Sir Robert isn't even going to mention that I was there. Can you imagine? He says it would ruin the case. Why am I always in the way? Nobody ever mentions me. Nobody has to listen to me. It's like I don't even exist. And I thought Stefan standing up for me finally meant something. Maybe I will become part of the family. But no. Everything is back to usual now. Gloria tries her best to hold back the tears. I do my best to comfort her. Father just needs to keep the family out of trouble. If Sir Robert believes that I only bring trouble, why did he take me into the house at all? Gloria runs away. I return to my books, but I can't help but get lost in thought. What if they told the courts I wasn't there either? How would I feel then? There's a knock at the door. And his father. He closes the door behind him and sits next to me. There is an exhausted look about him. Son, you will be testifying before the court tomorrow. Please remember what I am about to tell you. Gloria wasn't at the ruins at all. I went there with my brother to inspect this historic site. The low-born men insulted Stefan first and then attacked him. Stefan had managed to deal with the assailant on his own by the time the guards intervened. Gloria will cast suspicion on the case. If we mention her very existence to the court, the reputation of the family will suffer. My grandfather will never forgive me if that... your grandfather will never forgive me if that happens. Do not let me down. We're all counting on you. I recall the night of the fight like it was a moment ago. Gloria sprawled under the feet of those cackling thugs. Her poetry, her greatest treasure, scattered on the ground. She thinks she's all noble. Those were the words she spat down on her, but doesn't grandfather mean the same thing when he denies that she's part of the family? But if I do what father tells me, the trial will end quickly. Those commoners will face true death for assaulting a noble. If I mention Gloria, things will get complicated, and I cannot predict how the trial will end. Which is more important to me? Right, what is just? What is just is to, and what is right, is the truth. There are too many lies in this world. I'm determined to change father's opinion and make sure Gloria gets the fair treatment she deserves. I look father straight in the eyes and tell him what I think. I am not going to bear false witness in court. He's a judge himself. How can he make me lie to Sir Elborn? And what of Gloria? Is she not a Brante too? Does she not deserve justice? Or maybe grandfather is right and she's just a freeloader who deserves nothing but shame. If so, then how can father agree to take her into his home and under his protection? And what of that protection if you then abandon her? Saying this to father is tough. Deep inside I pray he hears no weakness in my voice and sees no blood rushing to my cheeks, but it seems he's listening to you intently. The wrinkles on his forehead grow deeper as his fingers stammer out a staccato against the armrest. This is going to be a tough son, but you're right. You are right. I took Gloria into my home, and so I must protect her like my own daughter. This was my decision, and I must stand by it. I will speak with Stefan in the morning. Now I pray your grandfather never hears of my change of heart. The day comes. The trial takes place in the lesser hall of the city prefecture. Sir Elborn himself presides as judge. I am the first to testify in court. I tell the court the truth about the night. How the thugs humiliated Gloria, how Stefan and I came to help her, and how Stefan defended his half-sister. Out of the corner of my eye, I watch grandfather's face grow red, yet he remains silent. There are confused whispers in the hall. The commoners on trial cry out, "It's the truth." Gloria was reciting poetry, and they simply told her she was defying her lot. The situation had changed. By this account, Stefan was not acting in defense of himself or another. He merely assaulted them first in order to retaliate against those who had insulted his half-sister. I spread my feet to stand firm and inhale before I speak next. I asked the hall, is it not a nobleman's duty to honour his family name? Gloria does not have the Brante name, but my father took her into his home. Therefore it was Stefan's duty to protect her, as he would have protected any of you. Contemptuous chuckles rushed through the courtroom. I've just reminded the city of father's shameful second marriage. Stefan needs to testify next. He reluctantly confirmed my testimony, glancing at father and grandfather all the while. His arm in the sling is his main argument. Stefan wanted the commoners to stop insulting Gloria, yet in the end the commoners were the first to assault him. After a short recess, Sir Elborn returns and raises to deliver his sentence. The court of Anisot finds you guilty of assaulting Stefan Brante, nobleman, who stood in defence of the honour of Gloria, a member of his household. All four defendants are sentenced to true death by hanging. There is no wind, but I feel a gust sweep through the hall. The defendants turn pale, their mothers are bawling and crying. Everybody in the court feels the dreadful power of the law, and it is stern and just. The very power has been invoked by this sentence, and by this very sentence the lives of 4 young men are literally forfeit for all eternity. The gallows await. Stefan stands in the front row, father stands next to him, the wood creaks. The trapdoors open under the young men's feet. They dangle in the air, wheezing and reaching out for support with their feet in their final moments. Grandfather's silence ends at home. He screams at me and father, at Stefan and Gloria. This trial is a disgrace. His screams are punctuated by the thudding of his walking stick against the floor. Father says that they had to defend their family. It would have truly been a disgrace if they had shirked their responsibilities. Stefan excused himself to bandage his arm in order to stay out of the argument. Gloria is quiet, but glowing. I stay quiet too. It is all over now. It is all over. Nobody bullies Gloria on the streets anymore. Those poor commoners are dead forever. Their families were taught a cruel lesson, so it will be with anyone who dares raise a hand against a nobleman. Relations with grandfather down to -4 hostility. Reputation of the family is down to -1. No, down to 1. Tarnished honour. But the unity is up to 9. Peace. It is all over now. No. Oh. My nobility is up by 1 to 4. My spirituality up by 1 to 4. Soulful. My willpower down to 5. An adult question. This event is a consequence of my previous action. Conditions met, yes. An adult question. The day is sunny, scorched and hot. I am sitting in the yard in the shade of a tree, studying books about the twins' great descent. I hear shy, quiet steps. There is no need to look back. I know from the sound that it is Nathan. My younger brother also sits in the shade of the tree, yet he is quiet. He's not tugging at my clothes this time. That is unusual. He's just sitting by my side, breathing loudly. I turn myself away from the book and look at my brother. Nathan is deep in thought. He seems uneasy. He's fidgeting with the symbol of the twins, a cross inside a circle, the lash bound around the sword. It is Nathan's pendant. He wears it all the time, but not today. The silence wears on. Nathan takes a deep breath, like he is about to speak, but he does not. His face grows even grimmer. He looks unusually hurt and bitter. Alas, Nathan gathers his courage. He takes another deep breath. His eyes narrow. His hand clutches the encircled cross. Tell me, Yorkie, the twins, they hate me, don't they? Nathan's voice is quiet yet firm. The world falls silent around me. Not even a gust of wind can be heard. It's as if everything is awaiting for my answer. I look at my brother again, confused. Nathan, the youngest brother, the most unassuming child. He is quiet, obedient, and thoughtful. He has been my responsibility almost since birth, yet he has never been a burden. Father was always aloof around him, and Mother was too tired to even smile. Even Grandfather seemed to avoid Nathan with his scorn. He just treated my little brother like a piece of trash. He treats everyone who's not actually noble. And by that I mean of the noble lot, like trash. He never called him by name, always winced at the sight of him, perhaps because he looked so much like Mother. But is it true that the twin gods have no love for my little brother? Surely the twins have enough for even little Nathan, don't they? Nathan was born a commoner like me. His lot is suffering. Everyone is tested by the twins before their true death. No one can expect mercy along their path. He was born the youngest child in my family. That is his trial. Should Nathan persevere and bear the burden he was dealt, he shall yet reach the peak of the pillar when his time runs out. There is also hope in Nathan's eyes as he looks at me. Guiding others in matters of faith is a clergy's lot. I am no priest, yet I cannot stay quiet. I see his pain. I see his trepidation, and so I will tell him what I think. What you are about to say may be a turning point in his life. The twins love all that exists. Do not trust the corruption you see in the world around you, Nathan. I tell my brother that the twins are more than just law and will. They are also love. So writes Satius. No, so say I, who witnessed them. And so says Mother. That both he and I were brought into this world together through their providence. It is true that their love is quite unlike the love humans have for one another. They cannot forgive others unconditionally, like Mother and Father would. Our parents love us no matter what, but they are unlikely. And yet the twins bear no hatred, for they descended to our world and granted us knowledge of how to live. And this is a great treasure indeed. The twins put us all to the test with the hardships they would send. They watch how we follow our lot. No, will you stop putting this in my mouth? And if Nathan suffers and feels no love for them, then that means they believe in him and know he will endure this suffering. They know he will humbly accept it and let it pass through him, let it purify him. This is the manifestation of their love. Nathan hangs on my every word. The despair fades from his face. He is smiling. He puts the chain with the encircled cross back around his neck again and hugs me gratefully. So they do love me, thank you. You've helped me hold on to my faith. Up to +3 with Nathan. I hug Nathan back and hear him sniffle on my shoulder. You'll remember this talk for years. Spirituality up to 5. Nathan's admonition event has happened. My younger brother, Nathan Brante, receives a spiritual admonition from me. Forbidden love. This event is a consequence of my previous actions. Another day of school is behind me. I am now wandering the district, taking my time before going home. It is getting dark. Soon, I am walking past the splendid mansion of Count El Velasco, one of Magda's richest landlords. I hear a voice from the other side of the iron fence. It is Stefan's voice. It is followed by the sound of a young lady laughing. I peek through the fence and into the mansion's garden. And indeed, there I see my elder brother dressed like he is going to meet the Emperor himself. He is busy helping a pretty young lady out of the window. He locks him in an emotional embrace. I recognize her, Maria El Velasco, Count El Velasco's daughter. And as the whole city knows, she is already betrothed to another young nobleman from a far more illustrious family. Oh, Maria, I thought I would help you come down to earth from your heavenly abode. But your very touch brings me to the heavens, says Stefan, creepily. He picks the Count's daughter up and holds her in the air. She laughs, almost imperceptibly, and kisses him on the cheek, but then Stefan takes her by the chin and turns her face to him, their lips joined in a kiss. A flurry of emotion washes over me as I watch it happen. Stefan is putting the reputation of his entire family at risk. Acting so frivolously with the Count's daughter may turn the Count's influence against all the Brants. And yet Stefan always speaks so highly of noble bearing and composure and family honour. Stefan's face is glowing with joy. My older brother, he is happy, truly happy. I've never seen Stefan like this, as his arms hold the Count's daughter in tender embrace, so gently, as though he fears to hurt her. And Maria reciprocates his feelings, and really robs them of his secret joy. If I ever speak to him about this, no one else must hear it. I wait by the gate patiently until Stefan decides to return from his escapades. He is startled when he finally notices me standing by the gate. Stefan, you risk much. Let me aid you. What are you doing here this late? How are you, Yorkie? Is there something you wish to tell me? I confess to Stefan that I saw him today in El Velasco's garden with the Count's daughter. This affair puts both families' honours at risk, yet I say I am happy for him. I can see how much he cares for her, no matter what, it is worth the risk. Stefan can trust me with the secret, I assure him. The two of us will keep it together. Stefan reacts to me with anger at first, but my supportive words calm him down. You've got all the makings of a professional spy, but you're right. The risk is too great. Your aid will not go amiss. We're no nobleman yet, he says, but I hope your word is worth my trust. From that day on, you helped Stefan and Maria avoid attention on many occasions. I even have to distract El Velasco's manservant and lead them away from them on a wild goose chase through the district. In the end, I am never caught. I earn my brother yet another night with his beloved. They are both aware that the days of the hidden love are numbered. But how will my escapade affect the family's reputation? I and my brother agree. Whatever happens, happens. Young love is worth his risk. Spirituality up to 6. Ingenuity up till 6. Ingenuity up to 2. Bright. Evidence of race event has happened. Find out about my elder brother's forbidden love. And so we turn to 1132. 14 years of age. And that is where we will pick up afterwards. Very well, I'll see you next time.